Welcome to Studio 58A live here at the Jamaica Information Service, our discussion program coming to you live on Facebook. I'm your host, Vaughn Davis. Thank you to everyone joining us online wherever you are. We really do appreciate it. And as you watch, remember to send in your questions and your comments so we can put them to our guest. And like how we have your attention, just do us the same favor we always ask. Share this video with a friend or two or 10,000 so we can have a very lively discussion. Now, as our Governor General, Sir Patrick Allen, likes to say, there's nothing wrong with Jamaica that can't be fixed by what is right with Jamaica. It's all about aligning all the right things and putting them into a context where they can be best utilized. One of our country's greatest assets is its human capital, its people, especially those residing outside of the country, but for whom Jamaica will always be home. Every 2 years, our diaspora is pulled together from all over the globe to participate in the Diaspora Conference, all geared towards finding ways for our diaspora to actively contribute to national objectives and national development. The 8th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference is being staged this year, this month in fact, from June 16 to 20 at the Jamaica Conference Center. And here today to tell us all about the exciting activities planned is acting director of Diaspora Affairs in the acting director of the Diaspora Affairs Department at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Lincoln Downer. Not acting? Okay. Apparently, I may have demoted you.
Well, the promotion is actually recent, so
all right, wonderful.
it's all good.
So let me rephrase that. It's not acting. It's director of Diaspora Affairs in the Diaspora Affairs Department at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Lincoln Downer. Welcome, Lincoln.
Thank you.
So glad you could make it. So the theme is Jamaica and the Diaspora, building pathways for sustainable development. So the question is, Wagwan, what can people expect at this year's Diaspora Conference?
Well, there's a lot that they can expect. In fact, we have a number of activities, starting with the opening ceremony on Sunday, the 16th, at the Jamaica Pegasus at 5 p.m., where the Prime Minister will give the keynote address, and that will be followed by 3 days of robust discussions and conversations and dialogue. And in that period, we're also having the Governor General's Achievements Award that will be held on the first day, and that's where they honor, in this case, this year, 4 members of the diaspora, including one young person under the age of 35. We'll also open our marketplace, which will have an exposition of services and goods by ministries, department agencies, and the private sector and other stakeholders. We'll also have the session will close with Diaspora Day of Service on the 20th of June, and that is where the diaspora gives their time, their skill, their expertise in local communities.
All right, wonderful. That sounds like a lot of jam-packed activities in a very short period of time.
And I also needed to say that at the end of each day, the partners, the legacy partners, Grace Kennedy, Victoria Mutual, and Jamaica National, will have their hospitality events. So you have a lot of activity in the day, and in the night, you'll either have a party, or in one case, one partner will take participants to the Gold Cup match with the Reggae Boys.
All right,
so
wonderful.
there's lots happening.
All right, and there's the tendency to always assume that conferences like this can end up being talk shops. They can just be a lot of talk and a lot of persons getting together and exchanging ideas, but we don't see any tangible outcomes. Well, how are we guarding against that in this particular instance? How are we making sure that people come, but we talk as they must, of course,
talk, because it's a conference. But let's set it in context.
Yeah.
The first conference that was held in 2004, there were several outcomes. One of which was the formation of the Diaspora Advisory Board, and they advised the minister on issues of concern to the diaspora. Another one was the recognition of the diaspora through a proclamation from the Governor General to recognize the Jamaica Diaspora Day. That's on June 16th. So that is why we usually have the conference around that period. We also have had it over several years, several outcomes, and I wish to make mention of the Diaspora task forces as an example.
Exactly.
The whole fact that you have a National Education Trust, a Health for Life and Wellness Foundation, the Charities Act, the whole change in the business processes of government departments, whether it's customs, registrar general, and so the conference must not be just seen as that period that people actually meet in Jamaica. It's a continuum.
Right.
So from conference, for instance, the government entities will travel to the diaspora to bring their services closer and also give good advice. So it is just the platform on which we build our strategic diaspora engagement. So, as I said before, and I want to make mention of the last conference, where we had several actions, including the adoption of 11 clinics across the island.
I did I want pre know it because I do want to. The minister, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, she has promised to disclose some of the outcomes of the 2017 conference and so on and so forth. But we do want to see if we can get a little teaser from you in terms of what she might be talking about.
Well, the adoption of clinics is one of them, and there 11 have been adopted. And there are 6, my correction, there are 7 out of the UK.
Right, okay.
3 out of the US and 1 out of Holland. Yes, so we have diaspora.
That far
exactly,
away, yeah.
Exactly. And another thing that has come out is the diaspora has decided in 2013 that they must do a day of service. So before it was just 3 days of conference. And the Diaspora Day of Service is significant. In fact, last time we had 29 projects. Before it was 19. And this year the target is 40, and already there are 24 registered projects.
All right.
And I must indicate that they are coming out of the US, the UK, Canada, United Arab Emirates, and Bermuda.
All right, so just how many persons are we looking at seeing converging in Jamaica during the time of the Diaspora Conference?
We're expecting over 200, and the profile, you're looking at professionals, entrepreneurs, business leaders, community leaders. It's a wide array, including persons who are non-Jamaicans, because as you know, we set the trend. And,
of course.
we're the leaders in the Caribbean.
It's only natural that we're going to influence some foreign naturals who want to come here and,
Exactly. And I mean, we have our engagement process started in 1993. 2004 was just when we started the conference. That's when we started with the returning residents unit in the ministry. And as you're talking about my position, for instance, the department itself became a standalone department in 2017. We started from a small seed of returning residents unit, and we have morphed over the years. So now my department actually focuses singularly on diaspora engagement, all the various elements. We're still a small team, but we have been growing over the years.
Well, based on the amount of, I just to speculate, how many persons do you think are in the Jamaican diaspora? You have
we estimate around 3 million.
Yeah,
and that's when you take into account the second, third, fourth, fifth generation.
Right, of course.
And you're talking about Jamaicans not only in UK, Canada, US, but as far as Japan and Australia and South America, whether it's Costa Rica, Panama.
So Jamaicans are everywhere.
Everywhere, just about.
All right. This is why I love this show. We already have a comment online. Maureen Moore, thank you, Maureen. Really appreciate her comment. She's saying, hello. The Jamaican diaspora needs to do more for its Jamaicans here. Stop the whole heap of chat and help your brother, man, and we need help. Yeah. I just put that question, I just passed comments like this straight to you and that you respond to what, because these are what the people feel, you know what I mean?
No, well, the thing is that you have to look at the evidence, what has been done. And we can say, apart from what I shared with the clinics, but the diaspora represent at approximately 77% of the stopover visitors. You're talking about in terms of investment in banks, building societies, over 1.2 billion. Of course, you're talking also in terms of health and education. They have over 200 medical missions a year. They give support to schools, to their alumni. We won't call certain schools, but there are several alumni in the US, UK, and Canada. And so the diaspora has been doing a lot. But now we're moving that engagement to the policy level. So what you find through the conferences is that there is engagement after. So if I use an example such as the Education Task Force, after the 2013 2013 conference. They came on a fact-finding mission, then met with the Ministry of Education, the Jamaica Teachers Association, and from there they developed a strategic plan of action for about 6 years. And since then they have been having their summits, the last of which was this year. And so there has been ongoing conversations and training and professional development in science, technology, engineering, and maths. Last year they trained over 100 teachers. So a lot is happening, but I think what we have to improve on is the communication aspect.
Exactly. Let more persons become aware of just the work that the actual work that you guys are doing.
Exactly.
Now, in terms of the diaspora task forces, how many task forces are? What are their individual focuses? What do they focus on?
Well, I think there's education, there is health, there is a recently created one called mental health, there is immigration, that one is a bit dormant, there is also crime intervention and prevention, agriculture, technology. And so they have based on the thematic areas, they have their focus. But again, it's really about knowledge transfer. That's them sharing their intellectual capital. That is the focus of it. And so what you'll find is that they'll come at varying points of the year and interact with their various stakeholders on the ground, because that is important. It's for them to come and integrate. And it's not a case where they dictate to us or we dictate to them. It's a partnership. And so that is what the conference is about, and that is what it has spawned, this networking, information sharing. That is the best practice internationally.
All right, so let's shift focus back to the conference itself for a moment to talk about what are some of the sessions or the speakers and so on who are planned to come and make an appearance and address our people.
Well, the first session is setting the stage. Minister Johnson Smith will open the innings, and also you'll have the Director General of the Planning Institute, so they'll talk about good news about Jamaica, what's been happening in the economy, what the government has been doing for us in terms of achieving the growth targets. You'll also have, after we do the Governor General's Achievement Awards, you'll also have a session on education and training, and that will be dealing with new and emerging technologies, which is essential for the workplace. That will drive education and training in the current and future workplace. So Senator Aubin Hill will be the main speaker there, along with Permanent Secretary Grace McLean. And followed in the afternoon with a session on inclusive economic growth, opportunities for investment, and we have a speaker from Bloomberg, along with others from the stock exchange. So it's a crack team of people. And what I must indicate is that the speakers are not only from Jamaica, but from the diaspora, because it's a diaspora conference.
Naturally, we'd expect them to come and share some of their ideas and what they have learned, and because I'm sure that's the focus. Many of them want to come back and actively and give back and share.
Precisely. At the close of Monday afternoon, there will be what we call diaspora location roundtables, and this is where we have breakout sessions, UK, Canada, US, where they will discuss issues of importance to them. So for the UK, Brexit is a must, along with the Windrush immigration crisis and the compensation scheme. Canada will deal with matters, mobilization of the community there, and the US will deal with immigration reform and civic engagement, in particular, Census 2020.
I can guarantee the immigration will be a very interesting discussion.
Very much so. So those speakers will come from the diaspora itself.
All right.
And then day two, you have health and wellness. So Minister Tufton will lead on that, but we have a number of diaspora speakers there. We also have a session on social business enterprise, and that's being spearheaded by the stock exchange, who has helped us to frame that session. And then we'll also have public safety is a must in any conference, so the Commissioner of Police will be the keynote speaker. And then we also have Justice Michael Tolo from Canada, and Professor Rosalie Hamilton from Lascochin Foundation. And then we have the Youth Forum, which will be a concurrent session. The youth is important because of the sustainability of the diaspora movement and, of course, the generations getting, some people say, I don't want to be ageist, but there is, because you'll realize in the diaspora locations that the persons who will attend conference are of a certain age group.
Right.
So the truth is that we have to focus on engaging the younger generation who are more engaged around culture. And that is important. So that session will be led by our youth leader on the Diaspora Advisory Board, Tanisha Westcar. And so there are 3 speakers out of the UK, Canada, US, and then that session is split in 2. So the second half will deal with the Youth Council. That is the framework that is being considered for their engagement, because they need a space for themselves.
Exactly.
But you're not excluding them for the wider engagement. And we also hope to have Minister Terrelang in attendance. And then we have the last session for that day will deal with agriculture and the blue economy.
Yes,
And then Wednesday it's creative industries with Minister Grange, and then the last session will be led by Minister Johnson Smith, and that will deal with the endorsement of the National Diaspora Policy.
All right. And well, let me just take another question coming online from Candice Christine. Appreciate your question, Candice. She says, will persons in the diaspora who are unable to physically attend be able to engage virtually?
Some sessions will be streamed, not all of the sessions. So the first day, and I know of the last day as well, especially dealing with the diaspora policy.
All right. So there are, I suppose we can get the addresses and that kind of thing in moments to come. Can just sort that out for the people behind the scenes. Now, we know that the focus of the conference has to be on making sure that we align our efforts with ensuring that we achieve the Vision 2030 objectives. Even though the specific conferences or the specific sessions will discuss these issues individually, collectively, is there any thrust or any movement to ensure that we are engaged the diaspora in that direction in terms of the policy itself and how we utilize them to achieve the Vision 2030 objectives?
Well, that is the basis on which the program was developed. It's between the National Vision 2030 as well as the Sustainable Development Goals. So that's the undertone. Every session is geared towards the achievement of these goals. So at every point, there will be discussions and outcomes relating to how do we move forward, how do we partner. And the Sustainable Development Goal, Goal 17, deals with partnerships. So whereas you'll talk about in healthcare, how do we broaden the access to healthcare across Jamaica? And through that, you'll be using technology, whether it's telemedicine, all the various features. But what's important is that the diaspora has been a part of our national development efforts. And so this is where we started when I was saying that the conversations now is not issues per se, but it's now about the national imperative, because all of us want Jamaica to thrive and become first world.
Exactly.
So now how do you harness that potential and move beyond potential? And this is why you have that knowledge transfer. And so each session will look at, this is why you have a minister speaking to set the framework to say this is what is happening on this side. These are the developments. How can you partner? Or the diaspora will share their best practices to say their experience and knowledge, their respective countries. This is what we can do. And so what we're really trying to do is to create an enabling environment for all of this to succeed.
All right, wonderful. Like we're here discussing the Biennial Diaspora Conference coming up later this month in June, and we definitely want just a few days away. We definitely want as many people as possible to turn up. How's registration going, by the way?
It's coming along. We still have room for many more persons.
I'm sure you do.
Yes.
And as many people as possible, wherever you are, as far flung as you possibly are, we want you to come back to Jamaica and come celebrate. Be a part of the movement, because trust me, it is a movement. We're going to get there. We're going to get the things figured out and moving in the direction to achieve the goals that we want. So in terms of one of the things, I want to talk about the Diaspora Day of Service in a little more detail. Yeah. Talk to me about, because we know it's a... Okay, now just getting a little messy from the technical person. We're going to ask you to pull your mic over just a little bit. Don't want to hide your face, but that should do it. All right, so we know that the Diaspora Day of Service itself is targeted towards actively giving persons the opportunity to put hands on and you know and make a contribution back to the country. So how is that? What are the plans for that, and how are those being rolled out?
All right. The Diaspora Day of Service, we actually have a subcommittee that deals with that, and it's chaired by Professor Rosalie Hamilton, and is supported by a Diaspora Day of Service coordinator, who actually works along with the Diaspora Task Forces. Leo Gilling is actually spearheading that effort, but there's already a network from previous conferences, and we have marketed it to the diaspora through our missions overseas and all our diaspora networks, and they are actually required to register their projects because, of course, you have to have the local counterparts. So, for instance, as I said, there are 24 projects, 16 out of the US, 3 out of UK, 3 out of Canada, 1 out of the United Arab Emirates, and 1 out of Bermuda. And so they'll be dealing with the areas: education, community development, healthcare, agriculture, sports, youth development, and their fixer-uppers.
All right, wonderful.
So what's going to happen on the day is that persons will go out to their respective communities. So this can be in form of workshops, or you're fixing a school, or in one case, or you have health fairs. So it's a broad range of activities.
All right, we have another question from Maureen Moore. It looks like you might need to extend a special invitation to Maureen because she's a little bit negative insofar as the diaspora. This is what she's saying. She said, where can I access your help? All the Jamaican diaspora doing them come here show off on me how them have to work hard over there for their money. So look, Maureen, we might need to get you to the diaspora conference for real,
That's
just so
right.
we can have you see the effect, the impact that the people are making, and the ways in which they're working to actually do things. As Mr. Downer just elaborated, do for the Diaspora Day of Service in particular. They're actually physically, tangibly putting their hands, putting boots on the ground and helping to give back. It's not a show-off thing.
That's
And
true.
this reminds me-
In fact, I'll encourage her to visit our ministry's website where she can access information and register for the conference.
Yeah, just give her, if you can, just off the
It's-
top of your head, can just share it with her.
It's mfaft.gov.jm/conference.
All right. Well, you heard that, Maureen. I hope you heard that. MFAFT dot come again.
Gov.jm
gov.jm/conference. All right. So hopefully you can get in. Hopefully your mind will change, because I'm sure this is not something that an elaborate thing that they put on just to show off and feel good about
No,
themselves.
not at all,
right?
not at all. In fact, it's good that you're having this kind of robust conversation, and this is why we'll encourage them to come.
Okay. All right. Now, I know one of the other activities planned is for government entities to offer fast-track services to
Yes.
diaspora members. It's called
Yes.
the Government at Your Service
Yes.
service. Elaborate on that one for me.
The Government at Your Service feature it actually brings together in this conference 10 government agencies such as Customs, Registrar General, Passport, Immigration, Citizenship Agency, Tax Administration Jamaica, National Education Trust, Planning Institute of Jamaica, for instance. And what happens there is that this is where you can apply for your passport, you can apply for a TRN number, you can have discussions with National Land Agency regarding your land title. There's NHD, you can begin your process for contribution refunds or have discussions about owning a home. So it's literally bringing under one roof all these government entities where you can actually obtain services and that you normally would have to go to individual locations. So we're bringing that under one roof, and this is part of diaspora engagement where you're serving the diaspora. So
Right.
where you're having dialogue and all of that, but there's a service element which is there, and it's quite popular.
I can imagine. I mean, many persons don't have the don't have the ability to physically be present. So it just
Exactly.
checks a lot of boxes to be able to just come and see the specific agency you've been trying to reach for the longest. But
Right. But it's also important to note that the information in doing business with them, the documents that you require, that's on our website as well, on the ministry's website, mfaft.gov.jm/conference. And there's a section called Special Features. You can just access that portal, and you'll know which documents you need to bring to access that particular service.
all right, let me just switch tack a little bit, and let me ask you about some of the other ways in which, outside of perhaps the diaspora conference, that we're maintaining the relationship with the diaspora throughout the world, and different ways in which the ministry is able to engage with them and hear their feedback and, basically build that connective bridge.
Right. Well, one of the ways, in fact, there are several ways we can talk about our overseas mission engagement, where consulates, embassies, high commission relate to the diaspora, whether it's through fundraisers, whether you have a church engagement, because the faith-based organizations
right.
are central part of who we
Absolutely.
are. We also collaborate with private sector, so Grace Kennedy again, Jamaica National, Victoria Mutual. They have offices in the 3 major locations, so when they have outreach, we're a part of that as well as the government entities. And so a significant portion of time is spent by our staff engaging with the diaspora in various ways. And when government ministers travel overseas, they have these town hall meetings and forums where you have direct interface with the diaspora. So it's about the accessibility. And we know in times to come we're seeking to increase that engagement. In fact, in March of this year, Jamaica Customs and ourselves, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, partnered to host an online town hall meeting where we dealt with how do you donate, the procedures to donate. So you also had the regulatory body, the Department of Cooperatives and Friendly Societies, and the National Education Trust again, and the Health for Life and Wellness Foundation. And so all the questions were answered, and there are other entities there as well to give information. So that is something that's going to continue, whether you go physically or you're going to go virtually. And so that is how we plan to use social media as we are now to get the word out.
Exactly. Now, I want to hear from you in particular, having been a part of this process and the continuous process of engaging with the diaspora through the conference and through other means as well, but particularly the conference. What have you seen that may have impacted you, or what have you seen to show that the relationship with our diaspora is being strengthened, and we're seeing more and more persons making the effort to keep that link with Jam Down and make that that the conscious effort to help out where they can?
I think, having worked in both New York and London, the 2 major centers, you see a deep commitment and abiding loyalty. I had the privilege of even being at the Olympic Games in 2012 and just seeing how people feel about Jamaica. But when you're so far removed from Jamaica and you remember the food and just the atmosphere, there is nothing that you can compare to it. So it's for me, it's the loyalty to Jamaica no matter what happens. And this is why the diaspora is so committed and is interested in what's happening here and what's happening with their family members. And so no matter, I have a friend who always say when he's coming to Jamaica, he's all happy, and when he's to go back, he's stressed. And but it's the vibe we have. It's the innate, I would say, just the abilities. The Jamaica is so diverse, whether it's culture, music, people, and the fact that we are leaders in our own right. And so there's this passion that we have. Sometimes you wonder, why are people so passionate, whether it's in track or football? And forgive a plug for our sportsmen and women.
Of course,
and that's where you see the diaspora. You only need to go to Pen Relays and see that. But it's that commitment to Jamaica that has impacted me, because even people, no matter what, and the fact that it's almost like you haven't left Jamaica when you go to certain places. They maintain the mannerisms, they maintain the language. In the UK, for instance, there's a lingo called Jafaican. It's Jamaican and Cockney mixed up together. So people want to be a part of us in all the different spheres.
All right. Now, in terms of connecting, if persons are out there maybe hearing you for the first time, maybe just understanding that, one, there's this conference, and two, that they do want to keep this connection with Jamaica, how can they do that? I mean, outside of the conference itself, what are some of the ways in which you promote for persons to make contact with you?
Well, the first contact is our embassies, consulates, or high commissions overseas. That's your first contact, because they're literally on the ground. And if you want to be involved, they have database of organizations. So in New York, you'll have over 200. Canada, close to 100, same in the UK. So that's how you can connect. Or we're here at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Diaspora Affairs Department, so we're easy to be reached.
Yeah, just Google the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Diaspora Affairs Department, and you will get everything you need. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, we're here talking about the 2019 8th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference, where, as Mr. Donner said, we're expecting about 200 people. I would like to see that about 1,000 or something like that. I'm sure there are many people who are longing to come home. This is the perfect opportunity to do so. But like how we have them, let's just talk about let's just recap what's going to happen. So the Diaspora Conference is on from
the 16th.
June 16th to 20th. Now, Mr. Donner, over to you. What can people expect?
Well, you can expect an engaging, exciting, and invigorating conference. We have noted speakers. We have the marketplace where you can access goods and services. We have the Governor General's Achievement Awards. We also we'll culminate the activities with the Diaspora Day of Service on the 20th of June. So I urge you to register now on mfaft.gov.jm/conference.
All right. Make a quick touch on the Governor General's Diaspora. Are those secret? Are they going to be awarded on the day, or
they're going to be awarded on the day? There is a selection process where persons were selected by the diaspora, and they sent it into King's House, and then there's a committee that selects.
All right, so we're not going to give any secrets. Mr. Donner is going to give any secrets away just today. That's too bad. But for all those who do win, I mean, good on you. I mean, we know that doing the work is the reward in itself. But, I mean, still, we do appreciate the work that you do and really do appreciate the fact that you're taking the time out to give of yourself to big up your homeland. That is always the best and the most important thing. As we said, the theme for this year's conference is Jamaica and the Diaspora, Building Pathways for Sustainable Development. So as you can see, it's about making the connection, making that link so we can work together and achieve Jamaica's Vision 2030 national outcomes. I feel like I've run out of questions to ask Mr. Donner, so that means that we're probably close to wrap. But is there anything you want to leave members of the public with, or persons watching online, so that they can drum up feel excited about coming and participating in this Diaspora Conference?
I would say for them to become a part of the diaspora movement and to stay in touch with Jamaica, because that is one of the key things. People need to be updated on what's happening in Jamaica, be current, and be a part of the conversation, be a part of the change to build the Jamaica that we want.
Exactly. As the Governor General, who I love to quote, says, there's nothing wrong with Jamaica that can't be fixed by what is right. Our diaspora are part of the solution. They've been abroad, they've been all over the world, they've been exposed to so many different things that they can bring home and share with us to help us address any of the social challenges that we face. And so we welcome you. We look forward to having you. We look forward to hosting you from June 16 to 20, so you can come be a part of us and help to play a part in achieving Jamaica's objectives. We really do look forward to you. And thank you to Mr. Donner for coming by, sharing some information. Just to give people, again, the information for your department, and so in case they want to call you and make contact with you and, establish a relationship.
Sure. My department is Diaspora Affairs Department at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. For conference, you can reach us at Diaspora Conference at mfaft.gov.jm.
All right, there you have it, mfaft.gov.jm. Is registration still open for the conference?
Definitely, and you can register on the days of conference as well.
So no excuses. There's plenty of time, plenty of opportunities to make. Hopefully, if you're just hearing my voice right now, come down to the Diaspora Conference. We want you. We'd be glad to have you. We want downtown Kingston, the conference center, to be full.
That's right.
So as many people can come and find the ways in which they can make a contribution. All right, so two questions online. Lorna Owens, thank you, Lorna. Appreciate your question. She's asking, how can we create business partners in Jamaica? That's a vague and a very general question, but I don't know if you can want to attempt to answer.
Well, again, there's a session that we have on inclusive economic growth and job creation, opportunities for investment. So, Lorna, I'd like to invite you to come to conference, because that is a session where you learn more about the opportunities in Jamaica.
All right, heard that, Lana. He's personally inviting you, so I wouldn't refuse that if I were you. And Andrea Chase says, thank you so much for a very informative session. Communication is always key to a successful endeavor. Appreciate your comment, Andrea. We do strive to make sure that we keep the lines of communication open, especially on a topic as important as this one. But I think on that note, I think it's a good time to wrap. Thank you to everyone who tuned into our discussion, especially those of you who sent in your questions and your comments. Now, if you have a question and you would like to send it in all the same, go ahead. we'll be going through afterwards, and we can feed our information to our guest and his staff so that we can make sure you get the right information so you know what to do come Diaspora conference time. Remember, our audience plays a major part in our show. So if there's anyone in particular you'd like us to have in studio, let us know, and we'll do our best to have that person in studio as soon as possible. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Jamaica Information Service to see who will be in studio next. We do this every Thursday live on Facebook. I've been your host, Vaughn Davis, and this has been Studio 58A Live. Thank you again for joining us, and please have a wonderful day.